Hello, welcome back to another video. My name is Gemma and today I am doing a tag. So this is a tag that I saw and couldn't not do. So this tag was created by the lovely Leo Bancroft, and I was just going through some of his content the other day. I'd missed the tag when it originally went up, and I thought, wow, what a brilliant idea. And that is the hashtag standwithtranskids tag. So I was like, right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that next week. And here I am doing the tag. So this tag, as you can probably surmise from the name, is just sort of raising awareness of trans books and trans charities and all that wonderful stuff. And so let's just go through the questions and just, what a great tag. Love it, Leo, love it. So question number one is to tag some people. So Leo tagged quite a lot of fantastic booktubers, but there are some that I think would also like to do this. So I am going to tag Booking with Deborah, Rachel's Book Nook, Margaret Pennard, Red Dot Reads, and Lindy Magpie Reads. So yeah, if any of you get a chance, I think this is a great one to do. So the next question, tell us about some books on your TBR pile featuring a trans or non-binary character or non-fiction about trans or non-binary stuff. So there's two that I would like to mention today that have trans characters in. The first of which is an Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. I don't know if this is trans or non-binary, to be honest, but Rivers Solomon is a non-binary author, and I believe it has non-binary characters in. I'll be honest, I bought it a long time ago and I just haven't got to it yet. And yeah, but I think it's sci-fi. I don't really know too much, but it sounds fantastic. I also quite fancy River Solomon's other book. Was it The Deep? So yeah, really keen to try that author. The other book that I know has a trans character in is the Obelisk by N.K. Jemison. So that's the second in the Broken Earth trilogy. I have read the first one, therefore I know there is a trans character featured. And yeah, I've been meaning to pick that up since last year, but sequels are hard, man. I'm just saying. Question number 3. Recommend a book, show or movie featuring a trans or non-binary character. So I'm going to stick with books because I'll be honest, I watch about 10 minutes of telly a week. And usually that involves Thomas the Tank Engine. So we'll stick with books for this prompt. So there are a few that I could recommend, but the one that sticks out in my memory that I have absolutely loved and will definitely be one of my best books of the year is, of course, Detransition Baby by Torrey. If you haven't heard of this book, have you been living under a rock? Because it has been everywhere, and rightly so. Torrey is a trans author and she is writing about 2 trans characters, and I thought it was excellent. I thought it was an excellent exploration of gender and feminism and relationships and domestic abuse and parenthood, and yeah, she packed so much into her book and I loved every second of it. I cannot wait to see what she comes up with next. And she was totally robbed for the Women's Prize last year, because of the ones I've read from last year's Women's Prize, I haven't read them all. This is by far the best. And also, the book that won last year, I gave 2 stars. Just saying. Question number 4. Everyone has their own journey and no one demographic, God, reading is hard, is a monolith. Recommend a book with a journey, however you define that. So the book I'm going to choose here is one that has divided opinions slightly, but which I thought was fantastic, and that is Magma by Thora Hjorleifstdotter. This is a book that is translated from Icelandic and covers emotional abuse, which is still a form of domestic abuse, and it follows a woman's journey into that and out of it. I know there are things that people don't like about it, but I thought it was painfully accurate to what some women will experience, and how easy it is to fall into a emotionally abusive relationship and be trapped there. So yeah, that's a woman's journey through abuse. So that's how I'm interpreting this prompt, and I'll be honest, just using it as an opportunity to promote this book again, because I really think more people should read it. I thought it was excellently executed. Question number 5. None of us knows everything, even about our own identities. What is a book that taught you something either about yourself or the world around you? So I really love reading books about things going on in the world, often historical things, but not just historical things that are very different from what I experienced. So for this prompt, I'm going to use a book that taught me more about the living situations and the politics and the situation in general in North Korea, and that was a book I read at the end of last year, A River in Darkness by Masaji Ishikawa. So this is a non-fiction memoir about a man who moves from Japan to North Korea. One of his parents is Korean and one is Japanese, and they decide to move back to North Korea because that situation was becoming quite untenable in Japan, and they were promised this amazing life, this world of opportunities, this land of dreams, to move back to North Korea. And as many people will know, that is not what they got. And so for a lot of Korean people, they were really stuck between a rock and a hard place, because they were ostracized in Japan for being Korean or partly Korean. Even if they were born in Japan, if they had any sort of Korean heritage, they were discriminated against. And then they went to Japan, where pretty much the same thing happened, because they had lived in Japan or been born in Japan, and they were seen as Japanese. And the whole sort of dictatorship and communist government over there effectively created this ridiculous caste system that caused, or is still causing, many Koreans to live in squalor, in situations of dire poverty and starvation. And it was horrific, and it really opened my eyes to some of the things that are going on over there, and I would highly recommend it. I thought it was a really well done memoir, and I listened to it on audio, and the audio was also very well performed. Question number 6. When things are hard in the world or in our lives, sometimes there are things we can do to centre and refocus ourselves. What are things you do to centre yourself and find joy? I'll be honest, I'm pretty pants at this. I tend to go at about 5 zillion miles an hour all of the time. But obviously reading is something that I do to try and unwind and exit this situation. But also just really taking family time. So going outside with the kids with no phones, no devices, no telly, just going out and just not engaging with the rest of the world, basically. So yeah, those are 2 things that I do, but yeah, I suck at recentering. Question number 7. What's your walk on music or feel at home in your own body music? And here it's got to be either Alanis Morissette or Sheryl Crow. So yeah, if I'm in need, usually it's when I'm in the car, whack it up loud, sunglasses on, and just rock out to a bit of Sheryl Crow in the car. Mate, try it. It works. Number 8. Finding mentors, people of wisdom or heroes can be another way to help us navigate life. Who are some of your mentors? Can you share something they taught you or inspired you to learn more about? So this is quite hard to answer, but I think the first person that I really realised was a mentor and understood as a mentor was my first boss out of uni, Rosie, and she was a badass. I mean, I have mentioned before on my channel, but if you're new, you might not know, I work in agriculture. Agriculture is pretty male dominated. So it's not uncommon for me to stand in a room and present to a room full of men, or be the only woman in the room. It's, you know, that's fine. But obviously there is an element of sexism in the industry, and luckily I haven't butted up against too much of it. But Rosie sort of showed me that actually women can be the boss. And she really sort of guided me and helped me through my career. And yeah, she was fantastic. And I probably wouldn't be doing the job I do now if it wasn't for her guidance when I first started my career. So maybe a boring answer because it's work related, but that's what we're going with. Question number 9. Who are some trans, non-binary booktubers, Instagrammers, authors or actors you'd like to shout out? So booktube wise, obviously Leo Bancroft, who is a huge voice for trans rights and education and all of that sort of stuff. He does a fantastic job and he's a booktuber. The other obvious booktuber is Say Kevy, who is hilarious and just so much fun to watch. From an author perspective, I mentioned her earlier, but Torrey Peters as a trans author, love her. And another author I read this year, who is non-binary, I believe, is Alex Gino, who wrote the book Melissa, which is a middle grade, formerly known as George. The book was formerly known as George, about a young trans girl trying to find her way in primary school, and that book was fantastic as well. So I would definitely be looking to pick up more stuff by Alex Gino as well. And the final question is, what are some organisations you'd like to shout out for supporting trans kids / folks? So I did some research into this. It was something that I wasn't super clued up on. So I went away and I did some research, and I have 5 organisations that I'd like to shout out. I will leave links to all their websites below. First, we have Mermaids, which supports trans children, young people and families. Gendered Intelligence, which is more specifically for young people again. Mindline Trans Plus, which helps with mental health supports for trans people. Stonewall, which is a charity campaigning for LGBTQ rights. And Trans Bucket, which helps with healthcare and surgery resources. All of these are UK charities. I wanted to, because I live in the UK, I wanted to really highlight specifically UK charities, so that if there are any UK people watching who are looking for trans charities, all of these will apply. And that is the end of the tag. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to Leo for highlighting this within our booktube community, because I think it is a fantastic way to raise awareness and also hopefully provide some support for trans kids out there and just trans people generally. And yeah, I will see you very soon with another one. Thanks, guys.